The Bergara B-14 HMR is a high-performance rifle that's priced much closer to entry-level bolt guns. Users will get the benefit of a highly refined, highly capable, highly accurate rifle without killing their bank accounts. The B-14 HMR series features Bergara's mini chassis embedded into the stock, giving repeated bedding and extreme accuracy. The barrel is a heavier profile, free-floating design. On my 300 Winmag, the twist rate is 1 in 10. On my 300 PRC, the twist rate is 1 in 9, allowing the use of most ultra-heavy, high ballistic coefficient loads. Barrel length on both rifles, as shown, is 26 inches. The barrels are threaded in common thread pitches to interface with most compatible muzzle devices and suppressors. Thread protectors are included with your B-14 rifle, and both rifles are weighing in right around the 10-pound mark. The barrel and action are finished off in a graphite black Cerakote. The B-14 action is a two-lug design and it is extremely smooth. Feeding and extraction is flawless and repeatable. The B-14 interfaces with standard AICS magazines based upon the caliber selected. The stock is adjustable to fit a multitude of different people, and the stock includes a quick adjust cheek riser for perfect eye box alignment. Currently, Bergara shows 8 right-hand cartridges to choose from and 5 left-hand cartridges to choose from. The Bergara B-14 is a rifle that hits out of its class, delivering shot after shot consistently and reliably. On the farm, in the field, or at the firing line, the Bergara B-14 provides the end-user experience that any shooter is looking for. As we dive into this video, I always start off at the beginning with disclosures and just telling you guys who I'm working with, what gear was sent to me, what I paid for, and if there's any payments that were received on my end from any of the companies involved. But before I do that, I want to give you one big disclosure, and that is there is a way that you can financially support what I'm doing here on this channel with my entire team, and also what we're doing over at TA Targets. So if you do want the best way to support us, what I'm gonna ask you to do is swing over to the TA Targets website and check out the products that we have over there. We have been manufacturing top tier, heavyweight, high performance steel target systems since 2015 right here in Pennsylvania. So if you've been on the hunt for a steel target, I'm going to just encourage you, stop settling for less. Consider supporting a company that gives back to you, that gives back to our community and supports you in a multitude of different ways. If you like what you see on all of our channels, the monetary investment that you make into yourself is not only going to help you, but it helps me fund this channel. It helps me fund TA Targets as well. So obviously I do financially benefit if you support us over there, but the good news is so does the entire team that's working under TA Targets to try to inspire you to become that capable provider and protector that we know God created you to be. So if you feel called to support us, that's the best way. If steel targets are out of the realm of possibility right now, I'm going to encourage you to check out 2 things: our cardboard base or our Genesis base and our C-Zone cardboard targets. Those 3 components combined are going to help you to train, and they're not very expensive, and they're still manufactured right here in Pennsylvania by people that truly care about you. So that's enough about supporting me there. Let's talk about these disclosures on this rifle. So this one's pretty clean, cut and dry. Nobody paid for this video. We received no monetary compensation from any of the companies involved for this video. You hear that time and time again, and it's because typically I don't ask for money to review a product. I ask for the product, and then I ask for leniency in my review. And what that means is I don't tie myself down into contracts where I can't speak my mind. And in this video, there are no contracts involved. So Bergara did send me this B-14 HMR. That was back after SHOT Show at the beginning of the year. So I've been running this particular rifle for about 6 months. I tried to tally up the amount of ammo I have through it. I have between 600 and 1,000 rounds at this point through this rifle. And I'm gonna use my experience to share with you an unbiased take on this rifle. But I also have another rifle, which is the same model, but it's in 300 Winmag. This one in front of me is the 300 PRC. So the rifle was sent for free. 0 contracts whatsoever. I signed no paperwork with them to get this rifle, and they expected nothing in particular in return other than I gave my authentic opinion on it, and I've waited this much time so that I could truly experience the rifle and speak plainly about it. When we're looking at the scope was sent out by Vortex. This is the, I believe it's the 4.5 to 22. Yes, this is the Razor 4.5 to 22 scope. It's Tally rings. Tally did send the rings out. Again, no contracts between either company. I did buy the Tally 20 MOA base. magazine in this right now is from NDT. I bought it off of some website, I don't even remember which one, but I paid full price for that. For this Atlas Cal bipod, I paid full price. Same thing with the Atlas V8 bipod that you might see in B-roll with the 300 PRC. Muzzle devices, suppressors, and all of those accessories, I purchased full price. The scope that you'll see in the B-roll on the 300 Winmag was also sent to me from Vortex. That is their Venom 5-25 first focal plane scope. Tally rings were provided on that rifle as well. So basically, guys, I got 2 rifles that were sent to me. All the ammunition for shooting with these rifles, I paid full price just like you do. And all of the other accessories that I added, aside from the scope, I purchased full price. So the first question to get out of the way is, why did I land on the B-14 HMR? And the reality is I'm very new to bolt action rifles. I was very new, total newbie to the precision rifle world. I wanted to get into a rifle that I knew was obtainable to normal people, but I wanted one that was different than, say, my Ruger Precision, not Ruger Precision, my Ruger American that I have, that you might have seen in content for a bunch of years. It has a Magpul stock on it, one of their hunter stocks. I wanted something a little bit more refined that was a little bit more capable, and I also wanted long action calibers. Now, obviously, there's a million different options on the market. The B-14s are not the only one, and I'm not gonna say that they're the best one for you. They might not be, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But I wanted something from a reputable company that would allow me to shoot, learn precision rifles, and also have a capable bolt gun that could be used in other applications. So when I was scoping the market and trying to figure out who could I work with, one of my close friends in the industry suggested that I get in touch with Bergara. I meet those guys and meet their team, talk a little bit about their barrels, because if you know anything about Bergara, they are very known for their barrels and very high quality barrels and very accurate rifle platforms. So I met them down at SHOT Show, and it was pretty cool because when I walked in the booth, they knew who I was from this channel, but they also knew about TA Targets. So I was working with some of their team and just discussing my dreams, my vision for what I wanted to do. And they basically gave me the pick of their catalog. But what I landed on were the B-14 HMRs, because they are an entry-level price that supposedly offered very high performance and reliability. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the video when I go into the pros and cons. But I decided to stay away from some of their premium models because I also know that right now things are crazy in our market. If you're looking to get into bolt action rifles, you might not want to spend $1,900 to $3,000 on a basically stripped down bolt gun, but a B-14 HMR may be right in the realm of possible for you. So I landed on those the two rifles, I should say, that are B-14s, the 300 Winmag and the 300 PRC. I wanted that 300 PRC for a few specific reasons, and I wanted the 300 Winchester Magnum for a few specific reasons. And again, I'm going to be addressing that here in a second. But overall, it from the outside appeared like it was going to be a very refined rifle, something that I could use in content, become good behind. And then when I'm talking about it in these videos, you guys are looking at it as a rifle that's actually obtainable to you. And that was kind of my key reasoning behind landing on this particular rifle. So let's talk about my cartridge choice, because I got a little bit of pushback, maybe not pushback, but I had a lot of questions at the beginning when I started showing these rifles and I announced that I had a 300 Winmag and a 300 PRC. And there were a lot of people that were wondering, Jared, why would you run a 300 Winmag and a 300 PRC when on paper, they are very similar in their ballistic performance? And the real answer to that is very simple. For one, I was curious. And anytime I'm curious, I try to get two of something or a different cartridge, different caliber, something that I can look at and say, 300 Winmag is the old school, kind of the benchmark of precision rifle shooting from back in the day. And then you have the newer PRC cartridges that are higher performance on paper, but how much does that really matter? So my curiosity was the first driving point behind that. But even more than that, I knew that because of the twist rate of the 300 Winmag being more of that standard 1 in 10 that you'll find a lot of 308s, I knew that I could be shooting really light rounds through it. And that really came to light when we started doing armor piercing tests against the TA Targets product line, showcasing the strength of the steel. So for me, the 300 Winmag was filling this role of just showing abuse testing on our steel, but it still held the capability of shooting rounds really far down range. But what you'll find, because of the design of the case of a 300 Winmag, it's a belted cartridge. And that just means that at the base where the primer's at, it has this belt, and that's what interfaces inside the chamber, basically indexing the round, creating the headspace and all that good stuff. The 300 PRC does not have that belt. It's a more modern cartridge, and there's some limitations in 300 Winmag, from magazine compatibility to overall length of the round and the bullet types that you can run inside of it. And of course, you can hand load custom loads. You can push heavy, long bullets if you want, but that 1 in 10 twist really isn't ideal for that. It's really ideal, in my opinion, for those hunting rounds that start in the 150 grain, then you go up to like the 178s for the match ammunition. And again, that's a perfectly capable round at a distance, but for my use case, it really was just saying, hey, look, I've got this sledgehammer that's a 300 Winmag. I want to teach people that the products that we're making are different. So I was able to hand load very specific rounds that would showcase that. When we come to the 300 PRC that's in front of me, my interest in that was extreme long range. I wanted to learn with a laser beam cartridge how I could shoot out at distances over 1,000 yards, reaching out to hopefully a mile here in the near future. And so the 300 PRC, I wanted to keep the barrel reserved for that match ammunition. I didn't want to tear it up with tungsten rounds. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. It's really geared toward the heavier, longer bullets that have a really high coefficient. And because of that, it is better suited to the 300 Winmag out at distance, but that's not saying that 300 Winmag is not capable, because obviously people have been using that for decades. It's a very old cartridge, and it just freaking works. So if you're into 300 Winmag, I'm not saying that you have to go 300 PRC. I'm just trying to explain at a very surface level, why did I get both? And when you look at them on paper, they can both do the same things, but each one excels in different areas than the other. The 300 Winmag excels in the lighter, faster rounds for hunting applications, and it can bleed into the precision shooting, whereas the 300 PRC really is tailored and geared toward those, I'd say 180, 190 grain and heavier bullets. And you can get some really heavy bullets going down through this barrel, and you gain that ballistic coefficient. It's easier to shoot at a distance, but both of them have a lot of overlap, if that makes sense. Let's talk about the pros of this particular rifle. And when I'm talking about the pros, I'm going to be talking about the B-14 in general, not just the 300 Winmag or not just the 300 PRC. So right off the bat, I already touched on the fact that the price point of these is very aggressive. It's very obtainable for a normal person. Now, as you know, when you build out a precision rifle, if you add a suppressor, you're talking usually anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. When you add in the muzzle device, you add a bipod, that could be $200 to $500. You add a scope, that could be a couple $1,000. So the platform of the rifle itself is often not even the most expensive part, but you can get into crazy guns that are like hand assembled, they're hand fitted. They are potentially going to be more accurate, more repeatable, but they're often built for a very specific use case. I think the cool thing about the B-14 HMR is it excels in the precision realm, but it also can be used as a hunting rifle. Now, there are some cons that I'm going to talk about that limit the use case of this particular one with a heavy 26-inch barrel in a hunting application, especially if you're hiking and walking around the mountains. But it could be used for that. You could definitely get out and harvest whitetail or shoot even big game with this, because it's a very potent round. 300 PRC is nothing to joke at. 300 Winmag is nothing to scoff at either. The actions on these rifles are extremely smooth. Like, I'm talking absolutely buttery smooth. When you compare that to a cheaper rifle like a Ruger American, the Ruger American feels like you're closing a zipper when you're working the bolt. These are like glass when you're working that bolt. Now, obviously, with elements, dirt, debris, carbon, if you're running suppressed, they get dirty over time, so you got to keep them clean. But the whole action itself works phenomenally. The stock does have some limitations that we'll talk about in the cons, but overall, it gives you the feel of a gun with a chassis, just the stability and the rigidness of it, that you can get behind it and squeeze off shots, and it just freaking works. It works really well. You can adjust the length of pull, you can adjust the cheek height and get that perfect eye box. So it gives you this well-rounded platform to work off of, even down to the pistol grip aspect of the stock is more vertical. It just gives you that natural positioning of your wrist, so you're not all contorted like some AR-15s will do depending on your grip. Access to the safety is very intuitive. I prefer this kind of a safety versus like the Savage kind of safety. Whenever you run a Savage in a chassis, getting up to the safety in the middle is a little weird. And there's other models that have safeties in different places as well, but this particular rifle is set up in a way that's very intuitive. And to me, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck out of it because of the fact that it's a low entry point. It has a lot of that versatility. It's got sling mounts all over it, so you don't even need to add any of that. More traditional bolt action rifles will have sling swivels, which this did have as well, but it also has QD mount points both on the front here and on the rear that allow you a multitude of different sling mounting options, so you can have a more modern setup, if that makes sense. But there are some cons to this particular rifle setup as well. Obviously, I said in the pros, it's very accurate, it's very capable, it's very well-rounded, but it's not the perfect rifle for a hunting scenario because this is a very heavy setup. You throw a can on it, you throw quality glass on top, you throw a bipod, and the fact that the ammunition is just so heavy, it's not the best rifle to be hiking around the woods. Even if you can get away from the weight, the overall length of it's very big. Aside from that, you also have very heavy recoil. And I know people are gonna be like, well, duh, it's a 300 PRC, it's a 300 Winmag, it's gonna have a lot of recoil. And if this was a lighter rifle, it would be kind of punishing to shoot. I found that even shooting an entire day at a precision rifle class, this is very comfortable. It's not too much, but you definitely know that you're cracking off a long action caliber. It definitely shoves you back. You've got to execute proper fundamentals. That's critically important. On the cons of my 300 PRC, I did have a problem as we were in the Haley D5 precision class, and that's this rifle in front of me. My barrel actually loosened, and I noticed that the day after one of the classes that I was shooting. In the morning, I was just trying to get my suppressor off and I couldn't get it off quite right. You know, when you're shooting a lot of 300 PRC through a can, it does carbon up pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of powder going down through that barrel. So I just thought, oh, it's just the suppressor cover spinning and I need to kind of clamp down and get that suppressor off. Well, what I found was I was actually unthreading the barrel from the action, which is kind of a major problem. Obviously, the good news is I didn't fire off any rounds when that was happening. I found out after the fact that the barrel had slightly loosened up. Looking back at the footage, there were no safety concerns necessarily in that situation. It's probably the worst thing that could happen to you with a bolt gun is you just don't want that barrel unthreading. But the good news with this situation, I reached out to Bergara, I told them about what was happening. They had me ship this barrel in action out, and I had separated the barrel just to show them like, hey, this thing came out hand tight at the end of this 400 or 500 rounds I was shooting. But within about 2 or 3 days, they had this rifle back to me. And I was very adamant that I did not want a different barrel unless there was damage, because I already broke the rifle in. It was grouping phenomenally. I already had my load data for it. I just didn't want to start over from scratch. So they reinstalled the barrel with my muzzle device, same barrel, same everything that I already had, and shipped it back in about 3 days. So while that was a disappointing experience, it's fairly uncommon. I haven't really seen anybody else having that issue. And I think it's a testament to no matter what rifle you run, things can go bad. You should always be checking your gear, you know, fidgeting with things, checking your scope, making sure all your bolts are tight, because things loosen up over time. And if you find a situation like this, it's important to stop shooting, send the rifle to the manufacturer, have them fix it properly and document it, and then get it back in your hands. You'll be back in action. So who should consider a B-14 HMR? Well, I think anybody that's like me that's just getting into long range shooting, wants something a little bit heavier profile than a standard bolt gun, wants the capability of modern cartridges, a smooth action, reliable rifle with a quality stock, quality bedding, and a good feel. I think if that sounds like you, then this rifle likely is going to be perfect for you. If you're also on a little bit of a tighter budget and you don't have $3,000 or $4,000 to spend on just a bare rifle, this is gonna get you that quality Bergara barrel and action, and you're gonna be out shooting very quickly without spending as much money. And overall, if you're just looking for that stable, high performer that's not necessarily a dedicated precision rifle, but it can kind of bleed the ground between a hunting rifle and a distance shooting rifle, I think the B-14 HMR is going to be perfect for you. So who should steer clear of this rifle? Well, obviously there's no folding stock, and a lot of precision rifles and chassis will have that function, and that does make it really nice when you're transporting a rifle that's this big in a bag. Folding stocks are really nice. I know Bergara does make some of their premium models in more of a chassis. I'm not sure if they have one with a folding stock or not. But folding stocks do make it nice when you're transporting. If you're also looking for more of a dedicated precision gun and you have the funds to invest in that kind of a rifle, you might not necessarily jump in here. Maybe some of their other models will help you out or point you in the right direction. But if you also like really long rails and you like an Arca rail on the entire bottom of the stock so that you have maximum capability and flexibility when you're mounting in tripods or even a lot of bipods, this particular rifle is not going to give that to you. You can mount accessories like I did with the Picatinny section, and you'll gain some flexibility. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily a precision chassis gun. So if that's what you're after, this probably isn't necessarily for you. Additionally, this is not going to be a fast change cartridge kind of a gun. There's rifles out there that you can remove the barrel very easily. You can swap between different calibers and cartridges. You can run various magazines, and you can have a lot of flexibility out of one platform. This is not that rifle because that barrel is torqued at an incredibly high torque rate into that receiver. You're not going to just be able to unthread it and then swap barrels and be ready to go. It is designed around whatever cartridge you purchase when you purchase this particular rifle. So if everything in the pros really sounds perfect for you, it might be the greatest rifle for you right now. If you're kind of leaning towards those cons and you're like, I don't know, it's not really sounding like my cup of tea, it might not be the perfect rifle for you. But I'm curious what you all think. I'd love to engage in a conversation down in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the B-14 HMR. Have you had experience with them? Do you own any B-14 HMRs? And if you do, what cartridge are you running and what was that experience? Have you seen similar things to what I've found, or did you have a totally different experience in general? I think that those comments down in the comment section can help other people that are shopping when you're considering a product like this. And obviously, like I said, I don't make money if you buy a B-14 HMR or anything from Bergara. But if you do decide to purchase a B-14 because of this video and you found it very helpful, let them know that you saw it on my channel, because even though I'm not getting paid to do this video, what does help is if people like you reach out and you tell the company that you saw on my channel that I did an unbiased review of the rifle and I shared my honest take on it and it helped influence your purchase decision. What that does is it also reaffirms that they've made a good investment into me. So again, I talked about how you can support me through TA Targets, but another way that you could support me is just by reaching out to the companies that I talk about and saying, hey, look, I saw this cool video on Keystone Carry. He helped me out in XYZ way. And that helps them to be comfortable to reinvest in me, which then allows me to reinvest back in you guys as well. So again, check out TA Targets if you want to support what we got going on over here. We're going to link some stuff down in the description. I don't even know if I have a discount code for TA Targets at this point, but I'm going to have the guys create a discount code that's just going to be Keystone Carry. I'll put that down in the description as well. And you can save a couple bucks on TA Targets products when you're on the website. And if you ever have any questions about any of our products, please email us at info@tatargets.com. You'll probably talk with Brent, he's our CS lead. But if you have a specific question for me, he can always loop me into the conversation. I can help you guys out any way that I can. I appreciate you all, and as always, stay well, stay safe. I will see you in the next video.